Welcome everyone to the afternoon session. This is session A, in case you want to make sure that you're not in the wrong session. My name, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Rodrigo Santos. I'm the Potato Industry Coordinator, working at the Department of Agriculture for the province. And I'll be helping running this session this afternoon for you guys. So our first talk of this session will be delivered by Rebecca MacSwain from the PI Potato Board. Rebecca is going to be talking about Wart variety susceptibility research. Rebecca MacSwain grew up on her family's potato farm in Morel. When her passion for agriculture took root early on, she went on to earn a Bachelor of Science in Agricultural Business from Dalhousie University's Faculty of Agriculture, graduating in 2018. Rebecca started her career in agricultural retail, gaining hands-on experience in the industry before joining the PI Potato Board in 2023. And as a seed specialist, Rebecca represents the island seed potato industry and leads seed-related initiatives. Rebecca also oversees the management of the Fox Island Elite Seed Farm in Alberton, helping ensure the production of top quality seed potatoes that support the industry's success. Rebecca is a certified crop advisor, professional agrologist, and has recently completed a Master of Business Administration from the University of Prince Edward Island. Please join me in welcoming Rebecca.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Hopefully everybody is happy and with a full belly now after that nice lunch. It's a pleasure to speak to you today briefly on the work being done at the PEI Potato Board for Wart Susceptibility Research, and thank you, Rodrigo, for that nice introduction. So just to touch on as well what Rodrigo kind of started, but my name's Rebecca MacSwain, and I work as the seed specialist at the PEI Potato Board. So I work on behalf of the seed industry, all things related to seed production on PEI as well as nationally too. And I work on different initiatives in that component of the job. I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of producers in the last couple of years through the biosecurity project. And kind of the second part of the job is I oversee the management at the Fox Island Elite Seed Farm, which is the PEI Industries producer-owned seed farm located in Alberton. So I have a really unique, dynamic job that keeps me busy every single day. But what I'm here to talk to you about today is work being done at the PEI Potato Board for potato wart variety susceptibility screening. And before I get into the presentation, I did just want to give regards to Mary Kay Saunier, whose presentation this is based off of, and the work that I'm going to present today. Ultimately, this is Mary Kay Saunier's work. I guess I've been the person elected to speak to it, but Mary Kay kicked off all of this work, and moving forward, we'll work on it together. So just wanted to thank Mary Kay. So to give you an overview of what this work is and what kind of spearheaded us wanting to put some resources into this area. So following the 2021 detections of potato wart, the PEI Potato Board really wanted to prioritize further research and understanding the susceptibility of commonly grown varieties on PEI. So then beginning in 2022, the board began collaborations with Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada to continue the work that was previously being done for variety susceptibility and and resistance. So on the screen here, on the left-hand side, this is a screenshot of the CFIA's website as of just a couple of days ago. There's not been any changes to the website recently. So at present, there are 5 resistant varieties that are recognized by the CFIA as resistant to potato wart. So those are bolded on the screen: Althea, Frontier Russet, Gold Rush, Highlight Russet, and Prospect. Alternatively, there are many, many more susceptible varieties that are recognized. I'll show them on my next slide here. Hopefully you can see those okay. So many more varieties that are known to be susceptible to potato wart rather than resistant. So unfortunately for PEI, a lot of our mainstay industry varieties are on the susceptible list. So you can see for yourselves, but Mountain Gem Russet, Russet Burbank, Dakota Russet, Eva, Norland, and the list goes on. So certainly we know that we want to keep identifying varieties for their susceptibility or resistance, and ultimately we are looking to provide the proper resources to growers as they make business decisions on their farms. So of the work that we're doing, it's kind of divided into two categories. So there's field trials happening at 2 different sites in Newfoundland, one being coordinated by George Brinson of Carmanville, and one happening at the St. John's Ag Canada Research Station. And the second area, I guess, is in laboratory testing. So we're sending samples to HLB laboratories in the Netherlands, which specialize in many different types of testing, but one of their specialties is susceptibility and resistance testing for potato wart. So the first field trials I'll speak to, so as I mentioned, George Brinson, he coordinates these trials. He's a retired farmer and has cooperated with AAFC for many years. So this kind of work isn't new to him. It's a relatively small kind of residential trial, but his land has been surveyed and is determined as positive for potato wart pathotype 6, which is what we have here on PEI. And he does a very good job of running these small-scale field trials. So of George's trials, he's running 10 to 12 plants per variety, including both resistant and susceptible checks. He does a great job maintaining the plants in good health, monitoring them throughout the growing season, and then upon harvest, the tubers will be harvested and evaluated for any tuber symptoms of potato wart. So as I mentioned, having your checks in any research trial is very important. So here we have an example of Gold Rush, which is indicated, let's see if I can use my pointer. There we go, which is indicated by the CFIA as resistant to potato wart. So this is exactly what we want to see. Although we know that George's soil is infested with potato wart, the Gold Rush tubers are coming back symptom-free. So this is what we like to see. And for a susceptible check, I mean, no one ever wants to see wart symptoms, that's for sure. But in the case of research, it verifies that indeed the results are credible coming out of the trial. So here we see Mountain Gem and Russet Burbank both displaying symptoms of potato wart. And the other field trial site I'll mention, so that's happening in St. John's at the Ag Canada Research Station. So this is a relatively new site for the type of work that we'll be doing. They're just kind of coming online, really. They've been recently renovating the site to make it a useful resource, I guess, moving forward in this area. So they're working on, yes, renovating the site. They've fenced off some areas that will be dedicated to potato wart resistant screening. They're looking at bringing in additional inoculum to that site and testing the soil for what type of potato wart exists right now. So we're very hopeful that in future years this will be a great resource for this type of research as well. So the second area that we're doing this resistance and susceptibility research is through HLB laboratories in the Netherlands. So we're doing this, I guess, in tandem with the field trials. So this is another area that can provide further validation or verification of resistance. So in our field trials, any varieties that did not show visual symptoms in the 2022 field plots were then taken forward and sent off to HLB for further screening. We know that lab testing, variable of course, but usually takes about 4 to 6 weeks. And we submitted samples from this past season in December of 2024, just a couple of months ago, and we expect our results in March. So just hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll have our results from this season's submissions. So what they're doing at HLB to determine the susceptibility or resistance, they're using the Spikerman testing method. So this is used to evaluate, again, the resistance or susceptibility of a potato cultivar to potato wort. And what they're doing, they're dissecting 2 eyes from a tuber, placing it on a tray, and covering those eyes with soil that's been inoculated with potato wort. They're taking those trays, giving it the ideal growing conditions that would be favorable to growth, and then after the time period, the samples are then evaluated if there has been the development of warts or spores on these varieties. So this table here, this just is an example of the rating, either the resistant or susceptible reaction that the varieties have had during this testing period. And like I've said, the varieties are then scored for instance of wart, if they have developed warts or not, their size, and if they've not developed actual warts, they may have only developed spores. So that's what they're monitoring as well. And we know, like anything else, having something be resistant or susceptible, it's not as easy as black and white. There certainly is a scale. So it's just important to note that something in our research, it might not show symptoms for a number of years, but it's important to do replications, and it takes a long time to kind of build up a sound understanding, I guess, of a variety's characteristics. So to get into a little bit of the results that have come out of this project, I hope that you guys can still see that okay. I wanted to fit everything on the same screen. So this is just a summary of the varieties that were sent for screening through this project. So we have field results from Newfoundland, both summers of 22 and 23, and then the laboratory results from HLB in winter of 2023. So you can see kind of there's quite a few holes in this table as well, and basically some of that would be credited to in the field trials. We're limited to a fairly small space and the amount of varieties that we can run in those field trials. But I guess the watch-outs are what I would really draw your attention to. So these varieties that I've indicated here in the lighter green, they've shown 2 or more years of no symptoms. So we'll be carrying on with them in our research, and those would be, I guess, the most hopeful right now. The 3 in the dark green down at the bottom of the screen, they're already on the CFIA recognized list for being resistant to potato wart. So those ones we're good with already. But I guess not listed on this table too, we have been working with some private breeders, and they've been sending some submissions through our research as well. So I don't know how many kind of didn't make the cut or have shown symptoms, but there's 3 right now showing some promise of potential resistance. So we're hopeful, to see continued research and build up, more data on those varieties as well. And probably my last thing I'll mention about this table, but again, replication is so important in any type of research. And like I say, you might not see symptoms the first year, you might not see symptoms the next year or the next, but it could take sometimes 3 or 4 years of replication, and then you might find symptoms. So then what you think might be a resistant variety turns out not. So it might have partial resistance, and that's why it's taking a few years to present. But it just indicates the importance of replication for sure. So where we're at with our submissions to HLB labs this year. So like I mentioned in December, 44 varieties were submitted to HLB in the fall, I guess December, however you want to categorize that. So our goal, this is kind of a greater number of submissions than we had sent over in the past few years. And really what the goal was at this point in time is any varieties that hadn't yet started being evaluated in this project really needed to be sent. And the goal was to screen all varieties that are being commercially grown on PEI. So that would indicate them here. And we expect our results again in March in a couple of weeks. So with this, what does future versions of this project look like, or where do we see this research going? From the potato board's perspective, we're committed to continuing work on this initiative in both the field trials and the lab testing. We're committed as well to working with Ag Canada and CFIA, as well as private breeders to develop criteria for accepting a variety as resistant. So like I showed earlier in the presentation, that web page that only has 5 varieties that are resistant right now, that's really, we're looking to expand that list and really grow what the options available to producers are. The 5 varieties right now, they're pretty representative, I guess, more so of probably the processing industry. Not a lot of options for creamers or chip stock, so we'd like to find some more options for growers there. And yeah, just ensuring that growers have more resources, and we can work on that through this project. So with that, I would like to thank the collaborators on this project. So there was funding provided by AFC, so I'd like to give recognition to Dr. David DeCoyer as well as Erica Fava from AFC Fredericton. I'd like to give acknowledgement, of course, again to Mary Kay Saunier, who initiated this work. This is mostly her work, and Bethany Visser from the Potato Board, George Brinson from Newfoundland, the St. John's Avondale Research Station in Newfoundland as well, and Marguerite Barima from HLB Labs. So I would like to thank you for your attention. This photo, that was a partially filled box of what was actually sent to the Netherlands this fall. So Bethany and I were packing up that together in the boardroom at the Potato Board. So yeah, if you have any questions, be happy to take them. I might also mention too, while I'm at the front of the room, I can't let the opportunity go without saying, so I mentioned in my presentation that I also work for the Fox Island Elite Seed Farm. So for anyone that didn't see them at the registration table this morning, there were little schedules printed of seed available at Fox Island. So if you have any questions or might be interested in the seed, please come talk to me or Mark Pridham as well. But we'd love to do some business with you. Little sales pitch at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm going to talk on the microphone here just because we are recording these sessions. And so we have minutes for some questions if you have for Rebecca. I will ask you to please step on the middle there and talk on the microphone to ask the questions. Anybody? Mary Kay.
I don't have a question. Is this working? Okay, I don't have a question, but I just want to comment. One of the reasons Rebecca said, like, we're trying to increase the pool of resistant varieties, and under the new plan, the new response plan for potato wart that will be coming out the end of this month, probably in the next couple of weeks, any growers who have restricted fields, to get those fields cleared out of the regulation system, you're going to be required to soil test. In the previous plan, you've had to grow susceptible varieties in those fields. So now we're encouraging growers to grow resistant varieties in Ag Canada, CFIA is also encouraging you to grow resistant varieties. In case there's anything there in that field, the resistant varieties will help to reduce inoculum, not grow it. So before you go and get your field tested, you may want to consider growing a resistant variety like Althea or Gold Rush if one of those varieties will fit into your marketing plan. So, and we're trying to increase the pool, as Rebecca said, of resistant varieties, because right now growers like creamer growers or chip growers don't have too many options, so we're trying to increase that pool.
Thanks, Mary Kay, for the comments. Any questions for Rebecca? Okay, I think I have one. I have one. Sure. You want to go first?
No, you go.
Okay. So, Rebecca, you showed that there are some field testing and field screening, as well as lab currently. So just for me, for my understanding, actually, so these are both of them are requirements from CFIA, and do you think they will be CFIA would like to be keeping that? Perhaps that would be more CFIA to answer that.
Yeah,
but if you could speak to that.
Yeah, and it is a really good question, Rodrigo. So at this point, we are waiting on CFIA to indicate what the criteria will be to indicate a variety as resistant. So this work being done, we hope at some point maybe CFIA will recognize the work that we're doing, but really our first priority is ensuring that our local growers have access to this research, and this is a resource for our local growers. So where we're at with CFIA right now, we've opened discussions with them, but we're really pushing them to develop what the criteria will be, whether that will be all in the lab or perhaps in the field as well. We're kind of left in the dark right now, but the only thing I can say is between Mary Kay and I and many other representatives on PEI, yourself being one of them, Rodrigo, we're really pushing for them to indicate what that is, so then we can make sure the research we're doing is matching what their specifications will be. Yeah. I was just going to mention as well, if you have a variety that you're growing at your farm or maybe interested in taking on and you'd like to know some information about the susceptibility, please contact us and we'd be happy to incorporate it into, if not the field trials, certainly the next lab submissions. So just keep that in mind too, but always open to feedback and open to hearing from growers for sure.
In the slides of the caribou variety, it showed no symptoms at this point. Is that something you would need 3 or 4 more years on to determine? Or
Yeah,
is it
unfortunately for caribou, and that's another one, it's so popular in the industry right now, it showed no symptoms, I think, in a couple of tests, but in later tests that it did come up susceptible. So it would be one that perhaps it has some variability of resistance, Ray, but we, yeah, once it shows symptoms, then it's hard to keep moving forward with it. Yeah.
One more question, perhaps? I think we are good. Thanks again, Rebecca.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.